Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome back. Today we are doing the front cover of our altered book. I am really close to finishing and I am so looking forward to showing you the finished inside. But before we do that, we need to sort this front cover. Now, I've had a bit of a think about what I want to do. I love the colour of this because it's very autumnal anyway. So I kind of want to still have some of that peeking out. So what I've decided to do is cover it with brown tissue paper and some brown sewing paper and also some of these leaf collage elements that I may cut out and stick on. Here's another one here. These are from a pack called, this is the pack, Collage Paper from Ranger. And it's a collaboration with Dinah Wakely. I've had them a while. I have used them before, but I thought this would be perfect for this project. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to be using this matte medium. I have done a little test on a small library card that I kind of did it last year. It was just the base of one. I wanted to see how matte it was because, for example, Mod Podge says matte, but isn't matte at all. You know, it's Mod Podge actually dries really quite shiny. So I wanted to just to test this out and see how matte was going to be. And I'm glad to report that actually this stuff does what it says on the tin. So it was a matte finish. If you just give me 1 sec, I will just go and grab that for you. So this was the library card and I just covered over the flap here with some tissue paper and then with some of those leaves from that collage sheet. And hoping that you can see clearly, but there's no shine on that at all. I mean, it's a little bit wrinkly. It needs to sit for a little bit longer, but it's completely matte with no shine. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but I found it on Amazon. It wasn't overly expensive, and I think it was the one that had the reviews that it actually was matte. So this is why I went for this one. I'm also just going to be using one of these paint trays and one of these silicone spatulas. I like to use these because once things are dry, it just peels off. The amount of paintbrushes I've ruined by forgetting to wash them or not washing them properly. These work really well and they're really soft and flexible as well. So that's the plan. Fingers crossed the plan goes. I've taken the paper clip out so I can get the book as flat as possible. So that's out the way. I'm going to put some greaseproof paper in there like that to protect the inside of the book. And I'm just going to start, let me see if I can centre a little bit more. Is that better? I'll put my tissue over this side so I'm not reaching over. Let's pour a little bit of this out. Don't need too much. And all I'm going to do is literally just tear off some tissue to begin with and start laying some of that down. Now, I am going to go over the spine, and what I'm going to do is kind of try and get it into that ridge there. I can use the corner of my spatula there like that. So I am going to try and do that to get it all covered. I'm going to do front and I'm going to do the back. Hopefully I'll be able to get it all done in one go. Obviously that depends on how fast it dries. So yeah, let's just make a start. Now, I'm no expert in this. If I'm using tissue paper, I don't bother to put down an initial layer of my matte medium or Mod Podge, because I find that one, it doesn't need it because the tissue paper's thin enough for whatever medium you're using to penetrate, and it will just get sticky at the back anyway. And also I find that it gives me more air bubbles, because I think what happens is you put like your wet medium down, you put your tissue on, it starts to catch in places and glue, and then you kind of put more glue over the top, and if you miss where you've got like where it's already glued, you get these little pockets creating. I don't know if that makes sense. I may have just completely made that up myself. But I find that's kind of what happens. So what I do is, and I apologise if I ever get onto any weird angles or I slip off camera, it is a bit awkward with the angle, but I'll try my best. What I do is just place it on, and I start in the middle like that. Bearing in mind I've actually never done this on a book before, so it might not work as well on a book as it does on paper, but I start in the middle and I work my way out. Now I might find that actually on a book I need a little bit of glue to start me off. If I'm going on to a tag or a book page or something like that, I don't ever feel like I need to glue it down first. I mean, it's a personal preference, but it's just something that I don't feel like I need to do. Less is more, I find, with this. And I will go from the centre very, very gently. I don't rush. And I just push the tissue outwards like that. Not overloading with glue. Then I will turn it round. So I'm still on my first dip, so I really don't use a lot at all. Now I am finding that it's not actually stuck as well on this as what it would do on paper, so I am going to put a little bit of glue on to see if that helps. It's the first time I've ever done this on a book, so let's just see if that helps. Now if you do get an air bubble, it doesn't matter, because you can either dig it out with your paintbrush, or you can wait till it dries, pierce it with a needle, and then just tissue, just go back over it with some more tissue. Yeah, I think on this book it's helping to actually have some glue down first. So that's a learning experience for me. Perhaps it's got something to do with the texture of the book, I don't know. Again, I'm just keeping it to very light layers, always working out. I don't know why, the advice is to push out. I'm guessing it's something to do with the fact that it pushes the air towards the outside to prevent air bubbles. I don't know though, I'm just guessing about that. Now, where I didn't put glue is I am actually starting to get a few air bubbles. So that's a nice learning curve for me, because I didn't realise that would happen on this type of material. So perhaps in future that's something that I need to consider and think about. Got a little air bubble there, so you can just use your finger and try and get that out. I might have to. I'm actually finding it quite difficult because of the because of the glare. So that's that. So because I've learnt, I'm now going to put some more tissue down, and I'm going to glue first and see if that helps. Still not going to use loads because I don't feel like it needs loads. We'll just put a layer down right to the edges. Squash those air bubbles out. I don't mind if it goes wrinkly and things, that will just add to the texture. But I don't really want any air bubbles. So we'll put that down. Get a bit more, go over that. And again, just working from the centre and then gently bringing it outwards. That dried really quickly in the course of me talking, so it's pretty quick drying stuff, this. So I'm going to try and move a little bit more quickly. Otherwise I've got a feeling I'm going to get a lot of air bubbles if I work too slowly. Okay, and this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to build up layers of this tissue. First, I'm going to do a layer of the tissue first, just the normal tissue, and then I will go over it in pattern paper. I'm just taking off all the excess now, any of the excess. Okay, so let's go up here now at the top. Again, I'm going to put quite a lot on again because that did seem to help. I've never used this stuff before. I've only ever used Mod Podge, so it's a bit of a change for me. I'll put that down that way. Stick it down first, like that. And then go back over it to seal it. Working a little bit quicker, but still nice and gentle. It doesn't matter if it rips because you can always just add some tissue over the top. You know, it doesn't make a difference to the finished journal, the finished effect, sorry. I'll try and keep that off the side. And where I can see some bubbles coming, I'm just going to use my finger to try and get those bubbles out. I would say it's definitely harder on this type of, I've got a big air bubble there that I can see. So what I'm going to do is just get my little scissors It's going to snip into it. Where's it gone? Here. And flatten it back out. And that's all you have to do if you get a bubble. And then you can just go over it with some more tissue. Okay, right, so I'm going to do this bit now. So let's get some more tissue. And I might work in a smaller section. I'm hoping you're still on camera. So again, working from the middle out. Getting the excess off. This is how it's looking so far. And you can see I do actually have some wrinkling here. Again, I can sort it out once it's dry. Oops. I can sort out where it's wrinkling, you know, the areas that I'm not happy with. And sort that out. Okay, so that's, apart from that area, that's my first layer done, almost. And I think what I will do is just pause, give this chance to dry, and then I can come back to you. I can let you know how it looks once it's all dried off, because it is quite hard to tell when it's wet. And I could also do with looking without these desk lights as well. I could do with getting rid of some of the glare. So I'll have a look how it's looking. And then get back to you. So see you in a bit. So we're mostly dry now, and where I thought I had air bubbles, now it's dry. In fact, there aren't any. So it just goes to show how misleading it can look while it's wet. So if you feel like, if you're ever doing this and you feel like it's not going to plan, my advice would be just to let it dry and see how it looks after, because I have no air bubbles at all, and I thought I did. The only place that was annoying me was here, so I've just popped it. I'm just going to cover that up with some more tissue, and I'm just going to fill in a few gaps where I've layered. There's bits that are lighter and darker, just to kind of even that out a little bit. Then we'll move on to the spine and onto the back. So I'm just going to get some more. I only need a tiny bit of tissue over there. I'm just going to put it like that. I'm going to put some glue there and then glue this down. And then once that's dry and I've got some pattern paper over it, I don't think I'll even be able to tell that I did that. So it's all good. It's actually, although doing this looks quite daunting, it's actually quite forgiving, because when, especially if you're using bits of tissue paper and you're layering it there's different layers going here, there and everywhere anyway. So I don't feel like you can particularly see any mistakes you've made, if that makes sense, because your eye is going in all different directions. I'm struggling to see a little bit, so I'm just going to glue that down. Let's put a little bit more here. Press that down first, so I know where I am. And then carrying on nice and gently from the centre out. See, now here it looks like to me I've got an air bubble because of, I don't know if it's the angle or whatever is causing that, but that's what happened over here, and when it dried there wasn't any. So I don't know if it's just the glare or from the lights, or whether it's just a little bit misleading. But as I say, once that's dry, if I have got an air bubble, I can just poke it out. In fact, I can just do that. Let me get a pin, it might be easier. Get a pin, lift it up, press it back down again, and we'll see how that dries. I think I might just put a tiny bit just to even this out there. It actually feels, the texture of this feels lovely once it's dry. It's really smooth. So I'm glad I went for this actually. And I'm glad I decided to have a look, because when I was planning on doing this, I was thinking, oh, you know, Mod Podge, it's going to be really shiny. And I've never ever really been happy with the complete, you know, with the outcome of using Mod Podge. It's always been just a little bit too shiny for my liking. The only time I've liked Mod Podge is I was making these kind of leather effect type envelopes. Not leather effect, but they kind of looked leathery once I'd finished. I didn't aim for them to be leathery. But the Mod Podge actually worked really well on there. I'll have to do a video on that and show you what I did. But that was the only time really that I've been 100% happy with Mod Podge. So it's one of those, isn't it? Right, so I'm going to attempt now to do this spine. I'm at a really weird angle, so again I apologise. I will try and keep you in camera. What I'm going to make sure to do first is put lots of glue down this spine to get it nice and stuck so nothing is flicking up. So I think on the spine is where, if you are going to put more on, the spine's probably a good place to do it. And just get it really stuck down into these grooves. I'm going to put some more on, lots of glue here and here. Just stick that really well right over the edge. Just check you can see. I think you can see. What you don't want is glue together, because you'll get a clump of it. But if you kind of just dig your brush in, okay, now I've got a little bit there that's not stuck down, so I'm just going to get that stuck. Now, I don't worry about going over the edge because this will just rip off once it's dry. So that's that. Let me get a piece, this will do. Make sure that's in. Tip you up this way again. And plenty of glue on. Put that down. Give it a bit of a press. Just going to flatten that out to make sure it's all nicely stuck down there. And then get it glued down here as well. Okay, so what I'll do is I will do the rest of the spine in the same way, and I will also do the back just in this first layer of brown tissue. I will make sure to, when I get to this bit, obviously put lots of glue here and then push that down. So yeah, I'm just going to continue off camera because it's getting a little bit fiddly with the angle, but now I've shown you how I would go about doing the spine. I will continue and get it done, let it dry, and then we can get back together again. So I'll see you, well, it'll be 2 ticks for you. It'll probably be about 2 hours for me. So I'll see you soon. Okay, so this is how we're looking on the back. We're all dry, well, nearly dry. All nice and smooth, no air bubbles. I went ahead and I stuck down some of the pattern paper just while I was working on the back, and I wrapped a piece around the spine. So now we've just got the front to work on and finish. So I'm just going to pop that back in there. I've got a piece of tissue paper here which I thought we could use on the spine like this, and then just wrap that around to help tie that in. So I'm going to work in exactly the same way with some of the matte medium on here. There's no air bubbles at all on the front and back, so you know, that just goes to show, because I thought there was going to be. It just goes to show how important it is to let things dry, because it's actually dried really nicely. So I'm going to pop that on here like this. Press it down. Then I'll go back onto the spine in a minute. A little bit over the top. It didn't take too long for it to dry. I did use my heat gun to speed it up a little bit, but I didn't keep the air concentrated over one area. I had it on low and I just kept it moving. And that did help a little bit. But all in all, it dried quite quickly, really. Okay, so that's all down. You can turn it on its side. Make sure you can see. A bit more glue on here. Matte medium, I should say. And we're going to wrap that pattern paper just around this spine. Just give it a nice finish. I might put something over the spine, I'm not sure. Perhaps some fabric or ribbon. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. But if I decide not to, then at least it's been nicely covered with this paper. bringing that to the back and just making sure that's nicely stuck down. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just working in this corner here. I'm just going to stick the glue down. Oops, sorry, I'm going to stick the tissue paper down. Just on the back like that. Okay, now just give me 2 ticks. I am just going to dry this off a little bit because I can't put it down on the front and I can't put it down on the back because they're both wet. So give me 2 ticks while I just sort that out for you, well, for me. Right, so we're a little bit more dry. I've just ripped off another piece of pattern paper. I quite like how that comes round like that. I've got no idea what's actually going to be on the front yet, so I'm just going to work on the premise that nothing's on the front and just kind of cover it the way I see fit. I mean, I'm likely going to put a page topper. I've had that in the wrong place all this time. I'm likely going to put a topper on or something, but I don't know, so we will just go with the flow and see what happens. So we'll get some glue on. Like so, and then we'll just stick this down. Like that. Can you still see? Are you all right? I didn't ask you actually how you were. I hope you are all doing well. I was too excited to get into my project. I know some of you have been crafting along with me. That's so nice. My camera cut out typically. So I was just saying, I know some of you are crafting along with me. And how are you getting on? Are you finished? Are you nearly finished? How's it looking? Have you done your front cover yet? And if you have, how did you do it? I'd be really interested to know. Now I'm going to stick this on here to break up the middle bit, and then I think I'll be done and happy with this. So let's stick that down. Bit over there, I need a bit more glue there. I have found with this book putting some glue on first has helped. Now I don't know if it's because I was thinking it was bubbling and it wasn't. You know, at the beginning when I said I thought there was going to be air bubbles, but when it dried there wasn't. I don't know if that was something that I thought, or whether I was getting bubbles and I realised and I did something to prevent it. But I have found on this book material that doing a little bit of gluing first has helped. But I suppose each project is always different, isn't it? I don't think I've ever made one journal that's been the same as another. Have you? I always find there's challenges in every single one. Every type of book you use will give you a challenge. I don't like that square there. I'm going to find something for it. Yeah, every single book you use will give you a different challenge. And I always find, I think it's just a case of working with what you've got at the time and kind of dealing with it and adjusting and adapting. Yes, I really think crafting in general is like that, to be honest. As I say, I don't think I've done two journals that have ever been the same. And although I haven't had a YouTube channel for long, I have been crafting for years. So I'm not actually new to crafting. I'm just new to YouTube in general. Just wondering whether I should put something here now. I've put something up there. Have I got anything that might go? I don't think it needs it particularly because it wasn't, that's not, it's not like in a square. I had like a very prominent square there, which I didn't like. I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now until it's dry. So I'm going to end the video there because I need to get dry and I need to get sorted. So the next time we'll have a look at this will be next Monday. I think we said Mondays, didn't we, for like project videos. I may have stuck something on here. I may not have done. It just depends on time and what it is I've decided to do. So, but I will give you a good look at this next week once we're all dry, and then we'll take it from there. Like I said, most of the journal now has been covered. All the pockets have been covered. It's just a case now of filling some of those pockets. As I say, it's for personal use, so I probably won't go ahead and fill all pockets. I may just put some of my ready-made ephemera in there, maybe make a few tags, but to be honest, it's going to be a personal ongoing journal, so I probably won't go overboard on that. And then, so I would say we'll have one more video looking at the cover and putting in pre-made ephemera, perhaps a last video making something to go in if I feel like something's needed, and then after that it will be finished and we'll have a little flick through. So yeah, we're coming to an end. I've thoroughly enjoyed this project. I really have. It's been hard work, but I've enjoyed it. So we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for crafting along. I hope it's not bored you too much, but hopefully it's shown you a little bit of how I go about decoupaging using tissue paper. Again, like I said, I'm no expert at all. I just go about it in my own way, what works for me. And like you saw in the video, actually what I thought worked for me on a different type of paper, like the hardback book, didn't actually work as well, and I had to adapt. So if you are new to decoupaging, you're a beginner and you haven't done it before, or you don't feel overly confident, don't worry about it, because it can always sort itself out. Most things can be sorted. There's loads of videos on YouTube on how to do it. I find that different people do it in different ways. There doesn't appear to be a right or wrong. So if you want to give it a go, my best advice is just give it a go. What can go wrong? If you're a bit dubious, perhaps just do it on a book page, an old book page. Doesn't necessarily even have to be an old book page. Just maybe your paperback that you've just finished, and get used to your different mediums. Get used to what works best for you, and then take it from there. So I'll say goodbye until next time. Look after yourselves, take care, and keep warm. It is freezing here at the moment. So if you are in the UK or somewhere in America that is now well and truly into winter, keep yourselves warm. And if you are somewhere where you are getting into warmer weather, keep yourself cool. Get that suntan lotion on, and I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.